When a biased judge dismisses a black man's case, he never expects a shocking revelation that changes everything. In a bustling courthouse, one man's prejudice was about to collide with an unexpected reality. Judge Harold Dixon had a reputation, not for fairness, but for bias. In his courtroom, appearances often dictated judgment. One day, Marcus Bryant, a sharply dressed black man, entered the room with confidence. The bailiff announced the case, Marcus Bryant versus City Parking Authority. Judge Dixon eyed Marcus disapprovingly, his demeanor exuding condescension. Mr. Bryant, it says here you're contesting a $500 parking fine. Is this correct? Dixon asked curtly. Marcus calmly confirmed and requested to present his case. But before he could begin, the judge interrupted, dismissively asserting that parking violations were straightforward and there was little room for debate. Marcus's request was met with skepticism, but he maintained his composure, insisting that he had evidence to prove the ticket was issued in error. The judge smirked, leaning back as though indulging in a frivolous claim. Evidence or excuses? Let's hear it, he sneered. Subscribe to the channel and follow along to see how this powerful story unfolds. Let me know in the comments where you're watching from. Marcus Bryant, a confident and well-prepared individual, attempts to present clear evidence to contest a parking fine. However, Judge Harold Dixon's dismissive and condescending behavior underscores his bias against Marcus, fueled by preconceived notions rather than an objective evaluation of the case. The sequence begins with Marcus presenting his evidence. He provides documents, timestamps, and photographs that irrefutably show his car was parked legally. This meticulous preparation demonstrates Marcus's respect for the legal process and his understanding of what is required to challenge the fine. However, instead of evaluating the evidence, Judge Dixon barely glances at it, signaling his disinterest in objectively assessing the facts. His behavior reflects a refusal to acknowledge Marcus's credibility, a prejudice likely rooted in Marcus's race or other personal biases. The judge's response is abrupt and dismissive. I've seen enough. This is just another attempt to dodge responsibility. This statement is critical as it reveals the judge's preconceived judgment of Marcus. Without proper review, Dixon equates Marcus's defense with an excuse, implying that he sees Marcus not as a professional or a citizen seeking fairness, but as someone trying to shirk accountability. This attitude resonates with the broader issue of implicit bias, where assumptions based on stereotypes override facts and evidence. As the judge upholds the $500 fine, the courtroom reacts with murmurs, indicating that even the spectators recognize the unfairness of the situation. This reaction serves as a subtle acknowledgement of Marcus's strong case and the judge's unjust decision. Despite this, Marcus remains composed. His calm demeanor, even in the face of blatant bias, emphasizes his self-control and determination to pursue justice through the appropriate channels. When Marcus requests an official appeal, the tension escalates. His request is not just a procedural move, but a challenge to the judge's authority. Judge Dixon's response: an appeal? On what grounds? That you think the rules don't apply to you? Is laden with hostility and condescension. This question reveals more about the judge's mindset than Marcus's intentions. It underscores Dixon's belief that Marcus's challenge is illegitimate and rooted in entitlement rather than genuine grievance. This line is particularly telling because it projects the judge's own biases onto Marcus, painting him as someone seeking special treatment when, in reality, Marcus is only asking for fairness. Marcus's reply that the fine is unjust and the judge's decision appears prejudiced is a bold yet measured assertion. It signals Marcus's awareness of the systemic issue at play and his refusal to let it go unattended. The courtroom's silence following his statement highlights the gravity of his words. The judge's reddened face and the growing tension signify his realization that his actions are under scrutiny. This part is crucial because it lays bare the dynamics of power and prejudice within the justice system. It demonstrates how bias can undermine fairness and highlights the courage required to confront it. Marcus's poise and insistence on accountability serve as a powerful counter to Judge Dixon's bigotry. The tension in the courtroom reaches its peak when Marcus, after enduring the judge's dismissive and prejudiced behavior, pulls out his federal ID and places it on the table. This act shifts the power dynamic in the room. Marcus confidently declares that he is a federal prosecutor with the Department of Justice and has spent his career upholding the law. His statement serves two purposes. It forces the judge to confront his own flawed judgment, and it underlines the hypocrisy of the judge's actions, given that Marcus is someone who knows the law intimately and holds a position that should command respect. The dramatic shift in the room is palpable. The judge, who had previously been condescending and dismissive, now stammers in disbelief, unable to hide his shock. He had assumed Marcus was just another defendant to dismiss, but now the reality of who Marcus is shakes his sense of authority. Marcus remains calm and composed, reiterating that justice should be blind, implying that it should not depend on one's race, status, or appearance. The judge's failure to remain impartial in this situation highlights the systemic bias that Marcus is challenging. Marcus's unwavering stance and his refusal to back down are symbolic of the broader fight for justice against prejudice. He emphasizes that the case is not just about the parking ticket. It is about holding those in power accountable for their actions. This marks a turning point not only in the court case, but in the larger conversation about fairness and equality in the legal system. Marcus's calm but powerful declaration, "Justice should be blind, but today it seems it's not," is a sharp critique of the judge's behavior and a call for a justice system that operates without prejudice. The turning point begins as the courtroom falls into an uneasy silence after Marcus's confident revelation. The atmosphere is charged with tension. Judge Dixon, previously composed and in control, now appears flustered and uncomfortable. He struggles to regain his composure and authority, knowing that the spotlight is now on his discriminatory actions. The judge avoids eye contact, a clear sign of his discomfort and inability to assert the same dominant, dismissive presence he once had. His failure to maintain his usual posture reflects the dramatic shift in power. Marcus, once the object of Dixon's condescension, is now in control. In an attempt to salvage the situation, Judge Dixon makes a weak offer. "Mr. Bryant, I may have been hasty in my judgment. Let's review your evidence again." This statement marks his recognition that his previous decisions were unjust, and he is now attempting to rectify his mistake. However, the offer is more of a reflexive gesture than a genuine willingness to reconsider the case. It's clear that Dixon's offer isn't motivated by an objective review of the evidence, but rather by the overwhelming realization that his biased actions are under scrutiny and could have serious consequences. However, Marcus is not interested in simply correcting the immediate error. He knows the impact of the situation goes beyond just the fine. It's about holding the system accountable for its inherent biases. With unwavering resolve, Marcus rejects the judge's offer. He responds, "No need, Your Honor. I'll be filing a formal complaint regarding this proceeding. The system relies on impartiality, and today it's clear that principle was compromised." This response is a decisive moment for Marcus. Rather than letting the judge off the hook with a mere apology or reconsideration of the evidence, he takes a stand. He asserts that the issue is not just about the parking ticket, but about the fundamental principle of impartiality within the legal system. Marcus's refusal to let the matter go serves as a powerful statement that justice cannot be compromised, and those who wield authority in the system must be held accountable for their actions. The judge's response or lack thereof is telling. He has no rebuttal and is visibly shaken by the turn of events. His face turns pale, signaling his recognition that his authority has been undermined and his credibility tarnished. The murmurs in the courtroom grow louder, further underscoring the collective acknowledgement that Judge Dixon's actions were wrong. This public shift in opinion not only embarrasses Dixon, but also brings attention to the larger issue of bias and injustice within the legal system. Ultimately, this section emphasizes the power of Marcus's integrity and the courage to confront bias head-on. It shows that even in the face of a biased system, one individual's commitment to fairness and accountability can shift the tide. Marcus's actions at this turning point challenge the judge, the courtroom, and the public to reconsider how the justice system must operate without favoritism, prejudice, or assumptions. The story quickly made headlines. News anchors recapped the dramatic events. Today, Judge Harold Dixon faced backlash after federal prosecutor Marcus Bryant exposed discriminatory behavior in his courtroom, one anchor reported. The incident has sparked a broader conversation about bias in the justice system. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed Marcus as he exited, asking for comments. He paused, addressing the cameras. Justice is about fairness, not favoritism. Today wasn't just about me. It's about ensuring the system works for everyone, regardless of race or status, he said. As Marcus walked away, the reporters buzzed with questions, but his message had already made an impact. The story of prejudice colliding with truth had struck a chord, leaving the world to reflect on the meaning of justice.